Hello. This is exciting time because you can take most of your tucking out and you can see how beautiful your coat is. The only tucking I would like you to keep is the first, your balance line, which is your chest line, your waistline. Very importantly, you still keep your center front because we still have to do buttonholes, and also tucked your the front edge of your coat. Just keep it intact. Everything else you can take it out, and just be careful when you're taking things and take your time as well, because you can by accident can snip or recreate the hole. So it's very, very important that you are patiently do that. So now the reason I ask you to keep the front edge is in order to secure front, okay? And also we haven't pressed it properly, the front yet as well. And for this one, you can do two types of stitching. So you have to stitch it there, hand stitch it. But the first type of stitching, which is already demonstrated for you, is the same one we used it for the flap, and that's where we had to do the step stitching. The stitches go through top fabric and lining together, and it became as part of the decorative stitching. So exactly the same method you can use all around the front, so around the front edge, and you can put in the lapel. You can see you can put that in the lapel as well, which is quite nice, and sometimes include it in the collar, but usually it's just in the lapel and the front edge. If you do that stitchings, they also included in the vent. So you've got vent here, and they will also include it in that end of the vent, and they use that beautiful decorative stitchings. That's one way. The second way, which is faster, so I'm going to demonstrate, it's where you are start doing your when you did your lining, and you have like a little back stitch where you are touching only to the seam allowance. This is exactly the same. So I already start doing it, but I'm going to do demonstration. So you start, so you can feel with your fingers where your short seam allowance are finished. So mine are finished here. So all my step stitching would be is make sure, so it's like a back stitch, not step stitch, it's a back stitching. So because it doesn't go through the right side, so it only attaches that facing or only attaches the lining, because you see, so I've done it here as well, but I will do demonstration in a minute. And it's all only what does is make it, that area sits in the same place, makes it flat, and also holds, and it holds into your seam allowance, which is inside in place, and that way the lining would not going to pop, and you're not going to get separate from the front. So you have to start it from inside. I'm going to use red thread, and later on I'm going to replace it because I like mine to be in top, the color of your top fabric, and that's how you should have single thread, the color of your top fabric, and then you need to secure your thread, so because your thread going to be visible, so or hide your knot, and then you have to go through the seam allowance, and you create like a little dot. So you go through the seam allowance, but it doesn't go through the top fabric. Okay. So you start now. So it's quite quick as well. So it's need to be consistent. That's the beauty of the stitchings. And then you simply just attach into the to your seam. So to your seam allowance. So you go down there, and then you just continue. So I'm only attaching to my seam allowance. Okay, that way, that part of your face, that fabric would not going to move no matter what. Especially if you're going to do the dry cleaning, that's where it sometimes happens where suddenly they use too much steam, they use too much you know, during the dry cleaning, and maybe they have to wet it to clean it, and that's where all gets apart. Okay, so you continue that to the, and you attach it. So it's very fast, as you see, very quick, and you've got distance as well, but it also gives you a nice, beautiful, sharp line. Okay, so you go that to only to your break line, okay, because we don't want to see it, those stitches, and because they are going to be in top, you know, in the color of your top fabric, you're not supposed to see them, okay, unless obviously, as I said, it's a stop stitch. You know, so this one goes inside. Your stop stitching will go on the right side. You always stop stitch it from the right side. Now, came to the break line. So my break line there. So I don't want to see any of my stitches here. So that's the place where actually we have to twist it, the fabric. So we are seeing the facing from this side, but this side we don't want to see facing. So that's where the twist, and that's where the break line is here. So I already took it off my line, but that's where the break line is finished. So now I move my needle to that side, to the back. So you will have a little slightly bigger step here when you are moving from one side to another side. So it comes on angle like that, and then you move it that side, then you turn your coat, and then you start your attaching it this side like that, and then you continue all that. So it's all hidden, but if you see it, you only see it inside, and then you're attaching it to the inside, so holding the facing, and you only attaching, as I said, to your seam allowance. Doesn't go through at all this side, so it's very easy because it's quite thick as well. So it's very easy and quick to do that, but it's important that you're doing that, because otherwise, as I said, it holds in places, and it's quite common where during the wearing suddenly the lining goes slightly different direction, and it stop holding, and it's just twisting, and you know, and that helps keep in place. So you just need to continue. So I'm going to stop here. So I'm going to show you. So as I here, so done that side on the corner. So of course you're not going to see yours one, as yours one will blend in, and then when you go to the break line and you swap and you go to another side and you continue. I already done it with with matching thread, and I did my lining all the way through and continue doing it. So I haven't finished it here, so I'm going to continue doing it, and you have to stop where the back of your lining is stops. Okay, for some reason you don't do in that side, because allows slightly movement in that area as well. So you're only holding and you're doing those stitchings to your back lining. Okay, so you do that. So that's I hope it's very clear, isn't it? So you keep doing the stitching to that point there. Okay, so when that is done, you can take your tacking out, which is quite exciting to do that. So be very careful and gentle with how you're taking it. Take your time. Okay, so that's nice, and we do that here as well. There we go. So lovely. So this one is a perfect time to actually iron and steam the edge of your coat, and also, you know, only the edge. So you turn it. You do not iron your lapel. If you do have to iron your lapel, use the cloth. Make sure you use the protective cloth, wet damp cloth, and then you only iron it the edge of your lapel and edge of the collar, and then you flip over here, and then you only press, again, use the thread, you only press at the area where that goes to the lining. You know, you don't have to cover it with the cloth, but again, depends with your iron, how, you know, good quality is your iron. So if you may need to protect it, use a cloth. So absolutely fine, but maybe not as damp, not as you know, wet, because it could shrink the lining in the wrong places. So you have to be very careful. But yeah, so if you're using the cloth, maybe just a dry cloth, and then just to protect your lining. That's all. Otherwise, yes, that's absolutely beautiful. If yours one is looks like my one, then you've done job well. And in the next session, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how you need to mark your buttonholes at the front, and also mark the buttons and buttonholes around the sleeve area here as well. So that's next session. See you, bye.